This week, the European Union urged China to ensure exports meet EU standards. This after a string of product safety concerns stem from Chinese-made goods from toothpaste to cough syrup. While Beijing's economy is exploding, the world's most populous nation is still very much a mystery to the billions of others who buy its products. Journalist Oliver August, the youngest ever Beijing bureau chief for the Times of London, began a journey through China trying to find that country's most notorious criminal. He found far more than he bargained for. His story can be found in this book, Inside the Red Mansion. Oliver August joins us with more. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
You went searching for more information about Mr. Lai, who cheated the Chinese government out of $3.6 billion. First of all, how did he do that?
Easy. He was a smuggler. You know, the Chinese economy does not only produce a lot of goods that we want to consume, they also want a lot of what we have. And Mr. Lai specialized in cigarettes, oil, and cars, which he brought in by the container load. What
did Mr. Lai symbolize for China at the time?
I mean, he is sort of the ultimate Chinese self-made billionaire. He is what a lot of people in that country aspire to be one day. You know, maybe leaving the crime on the side. But he was a very simple man. He grew up in the countryside and he was illiterate. He still is illiterate today. He can't sign his own name. And he then became, you know, the superstar businessman, and this is what a lot of people aspire to, and that's why he's still, you know, a figure that's revered.
How difficult was it as a foreign journalist to uncover information about him?
It took me a very long time. I spent 7 years looking for him and for information about him. It took a long time, but it was also incredibly fun. I mean, I hope that comes across in the book, that, you know, I got to meet some fantastic people and follow them around and see their lives. And it took a long time because I also took my time.
But people were scared to talk to you about him. Why?
Because there's still remnants of the sort of cultural revolution mentality in China that you should be careful what you're saying, especially if it pertains to the government. And so people were at first quite reluctant to talk to me, and I ended up just sort of sitting around with them and spending time with them, and that was really the way you did reporting in China. And a lot of my colleagues, I think, have found the same there, that you just sit and wait, and the story comes to you, or the interview comes to you.
While you were there, an American professor asked you to give a speech about journalistic integrity. How was that received by the students?
I gave this, you know, very pompous speech about how we journalists should only be paid by our editors, and, you know, we shouldn't take money from anybody else, and this was important not just for journalism but for society as well. And but in China this was a problem, where Chinese companies often give you an envelope with about $50 in it if you go to a press conference, and I told them, and these were MBA students, how they shouldn't do this. At the end of the speech, the professor thanked me and then gave me an envelope with $50.
Were you shocked?
I was taken aback. I didn't know what to say. I mean, this negated everything I just told them. I mean, but that's just the way it works there.
Getting back to the most wanted man, you finally made contact with him. He is now in Canada. When was the last time you talked to him, and how did you find him?
Last year was the last time I talked to him. He was, I eventually found him because he applied for political asylum, and I then managed to go to his asylum hearing, but it was still difficult to talk to him there, and he was under detention, and eventually he was allowed to stay in Canada, although not given political asylum, and I simply managed to invite him out for dinner in the end. That's what worked. It's the food that lured him out, and we had a fantastic night out in Vancouver, where some of the best Chinese food I've had is now available.
We're almost out of time, but how do the everyday people of China perceive him?
He is both seen as a criminal, but also as a sort of Robin Hood figure, somebody who didn't keep all the money to himself, but actually spread it around and took on a government that's seen as, if not illegitimate by many, then as unjust. And so a lot of people admire him.
All right, Oliver, thank you so much for being here. The book, again, is Inside the Red Mansion, on the trail of China's most wanted man. Author Oliver August, thank you very much.
Thank you.